Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Wednesday, the 6th of May. I am your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Australia says 13 ISIS-linked citizens are flying back from Syria. Google AI workers are demanding a union recognition over the use of technology by the military, and Trump has paused efforts to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, citing great progress towards a deal. So firstly, authorities in Australia on Wednesday said that 13 Australians linked to the extremist group, the Islamic State, are planned to return home from Syria. The returnees include 4 women and 9 children who have been living in Syria's Roj camp since probably the fall of ISIS. As per local media reports, they're expected to arrive at airports in Sydney and Melbourne on Thursday. So what? I think it's unlikely that Australia is doing this by choice or out of the goodness of their heart. It's likely that they basically had no other option. It's possible that these people made their way to an Australian embassy, and as international law requires, they are then required to bring them back. They're highly likely going to pose a significant security concern, particularly their children, who most likely grew up in ISIS and then in IDP camps following the fall of ISIS, where extremism was still extremely high, especially in Roj camp. There were a lot of, known ISIS members within that camp who continued to push the group's extremist narrative even after the fall of the caliphate. And it's likely going to be used as a political tool against the current government. I can't see many Australian parties or Australians, to be completely frank, thinking that this is a good idea or something that they want to be done. And next, on Tuesday, Google DeepMind employees in London requested management recognise the Communication Workers Union and the Unite the Union to address concerns regarding defence contracts and potential AI misuse. The employees opposed Google's controversial military partnerships, including top-secret programs with the Pentagon and a £1.2 billion service to the Israeli government. The Department of Defence confirmed on Friday that Google had secured agreements for classified AI operations, with a spokesperson stating that the company is proud to be a part of a broad consortium supporting national security. Alphabet president of Global Affairs, Kent Walker, defended the company's defence work, while the unionisation letter gives management 10 working days to voluntarily recognise the union before organisers launch legal proceedings. So what? I mean, this is understandable, but also, what did they expect? AI was clearly going to have significant military implications, and, it's highly unlikely that any government is going to stop, especially the US, Israel, the UK, France, Germany, all Western nations, because the risks of being outmatched by China, Russia, and other foreign state adversaries are extremely high. So, they want to be at the forefront of cutting-edge military technology, and this is what needs to be done. I think it's likely that people who have ethical problems with these projects will be moved to other projects where they can continue their work. But people who don't really care about the ethics of using AI within the military will carry on, possibly making significantly more money, as defense contracts are notoriously well paid. And lastly, President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that he would briefly pause the operation to help escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, citing great progress towards a comprehensive agreement with Iran. Hours earlier, Secretary of State Marco Rubio had outlined the effort had begun on Monday to escort stranded tankers out of the Gulf. The strait has been virtually shut since the conflict began, blocking some 20% of the world's oil supply. Trump wrote on social media that we have mutually agreed that the blockade will remain in full effect. Project Freedom will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized or signed. There were no immediate reactions from Tehran on early Wednesday morning. So what? I don't buy this at all. I'll be completely honest. It seems more likely that Iran's attacks on the UAE has forced the US to back down on this plan. Last night and yesterday, basically, Iran made it very clear that they are still very capable of hitting both oil targets within the Gulf countries and ships at sea. So, any escort operation was going to be matched with considerable firepower from Iran, which would have caused massive losses. And I think the situation appears to be getting worse, with little signs of recovery. It's unclear how the US can resolve this situation without an invasion or taking some kind of terrible deal, which would make them look extremely bad. And, Donald Trump really wouldn't like that. So the risks of military action, I think, are quite high. Anyway, That's been the Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel. I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.